very pleasant good afternoon and welcome to the rush this afternoon. It is a Wednesday, the 28th of April 2021. We want to welcome all of you for joining this afternoon. Those persons joining us internationally in the region and right here in Guyana, we want to say a hearty welcome to you to the rush this afternoon. Folks, like we like to welcome you, and like we always do at the beginning of the show, we say, tell us where you're joining from. Let us know in the comments, and we like to shout you out. We give you a big welcome from wherever you're joining us this afternoon for the rush. We're on at 6. We're on a little late. We're going to have a short show on Thursday. We had some a little difficulties coming on, but there's lots of news happening. But of course, let us know where you're joining us from in the comment section. We're happy to have those persons join us on YouTube also, for those persons who like to look at us from that location. Thank you very much for joining us from YouTube, or you hear the live stream. Boy, somebody is saying, good afternoon, Randy. This is Pamela with this scrolling so fast. Johnson. Hi, Randy. Unpack Guy Oil. Well, we have been unpacking Guy Oil and all of the corruption happening there. We're going to be talking about them a little later down in the program. East New York is in the house. Thank you very much, of course, for joining East New York in the house. All right. MP Richard Sinclair is watching. Thank you very much, MP, for tuning in. Share the live stream. Share the live stream. Watching from Dazzle. Thank you very much, Torrington, watching from Dazzle. Thank you very much. Holland is in the house. Thank you very much. Brooklyn, New York in the house. The Brooklyn, y'all looking good this year, you know. Y'all looking real good. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Brooklyn Nets. Y'all look real nice coming out to the East. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Right. Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte. Thank you very much for joining us. All right. I think it's the Hornets. We have it, the Charlotte there. The Hornets. I think that's the team. Bartek is in the house. London is in the house. Good night, everyone from London joining us there. We know it must be late in London now, but thank you very much. Western New York, thank you very much for joining us. Brooklyn, Pennsylvania is in the house. Folks, let me share the live stream a few other places so we can have everyone join us here. Of course, we want to say thank you very much and ask you, of course, to share the live stream before we get started. I'm going to be sharing a few other places now. As I do that, we encourage you to share the live stream so that your friends and family will know that we're ready to unpack some credible and valid information here on The Rush for this Wednesday, the 28th of April 2021. Folks, share. You see that sharing is caring. So don't keep the live stream to yourself. Throw it in your groups. Copy the link, share it in your WhatsApp groups, let your friends and family know that, look, we're going to be unpacking some interesting details today about what has gone on in our country. Folks, we are ready to get going with the afternoon rush. Right. All right, let me just get this sorted. We are going to be talking about a few things. Let me run you down, give you a rundown of what will be on the plate today for us to, I don't want to say plate, but in the suitcase this afternoon for us to unpack, because you know that's what we do here. We unpack the credible and valid information. We are going to be looking at the continuing and the rising crime in our country. The fraudulent president today, he had a press conference, and we're going to be unpacking some of what he said in that press conference, especially as it relates to what is happening in Linden. It seems as if the president is living in some sort of dreamland. Someone needs to pinch him and wake him up, according to one person, that he needs to be pinched and woken up, because the president seems to be asleep on the issues that are plaguing the people of Guyana, and he's giving us these hairy-fairy words about what he believes is happening in Guyana. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to also take a look at a few other things that are happening around town. But folks, as we were coming live, we got some breaking news that Sharon's Mall, there's a fire at Sharon's Mall. So if I can just share that with you for those persons who are interested, of course, that fire there at Sharon's Mall. Just as we are coming on, breaking, of course, we're getting this from News Talk Radio. This is Demerara Waves Online News. Smoke is bellowing from the Sharon's Mall on King and Charlotte Street. This is breaking news. This happened as we were coming on air, so we hurried to get this information to you. We still do not have any video from down there, but we're bringing you the breaking information as it is on the News Talk Radio. Demerara Waves Online News. Firefighters have equipped themselves with oxygen cylinders to get to the source of the fire. This, of course, is in the building. It's believed to be a fire on the second floor of Sharon's Mall. So, of course, we're hoping that everybody gets out safely. That breaking news there as we are coming on. We're hoping later down in the evening, as Sherrod Duncan comes on for In the Ring, that we can bring you more information on what happened down there and what is the outcome of that fire there. If you can see in that picture, there are firemen on the ledge there, the fire tenders there in front of the building. Breaking news: fire there at Sharon's Mall. That I just wanted to share that with you folks before we get into our show. But folks, continue to tell me where you're coming from. Let me see if I can go back up in the comments here and get some of these. All right. It says 6:05 p.m. in Toronto. Thank you very much for tuning in from Toronto. Let me see who I missed. Trinidad and Tobago is in the house. How could I miss you, Trinidad and Tobago? St. Lucia, Raleigh, North Carolina, Iflut. Oh, the person is coming to us from Iflut. Are you living close to University of Iflut? Let us know. Let us know in the comment if you're if you're living in the vicinity of the University of Iflut. Let us know. Pennsylvania's in the house. Let me go down. We like to do this on the show. We like to give persons a chance to let us know where they're coming from. Cleveland, Ohio. The Cleveland Cavaliers. What can I say? You had your day. We had LeBron, and you were flying high for that. At least that 1 year. You went to the finals many years, but what can I say this year? BVI is in the house. Thank you very much for tuning in. Pennsylvania, again, thank you very much, folks. Share the live stream. Let's get into the news, folks. Let's get into the news today. What happened today, folks? We continue to see today and the day before the rising crime situation. It's been 222 days since the March 2nd regional and general elections, and our country still does not have credible results from those elections. 422 days, since March 2nd regional and general elections, and we still do not have credible results from those elections. It has been 269 days since this fraudulent administration would have been installed and imposed on our country and the people of Guyana, fraudulently, I might add, and we continue to watch what is happening there. Mr. Prophet is telling us it is 11:10 in London. It's quite late over there. Thank you very much for tuning in, my friend. Thank you very much for tuning in at this hour. GT is in the house. East Bank, Mocha, our friends in Mocha, thank you very much for tuning in. St. Lucia, Queens. Right. So let's get into it. Continuing, of course, on our crime watch, what is happening with crime? We saw a Black Bush Polder woman fighting for her life in New Amsterdam Public Hospital after being stabbed by her spouse, who reportedly committed suicide after the vicious attack. Sad to say that we continue to see these things happening in our country. We have to bring you this information, folks. Sad as it is, we want you to understand the situation that is unfolding in our country with the serious crime that we see increase. Of course, the Chamber of Commerce recently came out right? Georgetown Chamber of Commerce recently came out with their own statement that expressed concern over what is happening with the crime situation and how it will affect investors and, of course, the future of the country. Because at the end of the day, nobody wants to live in a country that is crime ridden. So we're asking, of course, persons to be careful as we keep an eye on what is happening here. Again, there is a lot to be said about the Home Affairs Ministry, formerly known as the Ministry of Public Security, that is supposed to be ensuring that Guyanese are safe. We want to implore that the Minister Robeson Ben, that he does his job. That he does his job and he works towards keeping people safe. Folks, we've seen, and it seems to be like a degrading of the police force, and not only that, the respect for the police force. Every other day, we see another video with persons actively engaged in fighting the police, running the police with cutlass. We heard a story recently: a man punched a police officer after he was served. It is getting to a place of utter lawlessness in this country. Utter lawlessness, folks. You know, sad. And again, these cases of domestic violence, especially domestic violence, we have to stamp out. But we want to move on in the news. Earlier today, of course, the fraudulent president of our country held a press conference, folks. And he highlighted some issues. And let me say this. Let me pull this up so you can see. President Ali says that he promises enhanced COVID enforcement task force to target businesses breaching COVID protocols, right? And they are to face the brunt of the law. And his President Irfan Ali said that there's a struggle for his government, right, to slap penalties on persons breaching the national COVID-19 guidelines, right? They're putting them in jail for the influence and spread of COVID-19. Now, let me say this. I have long commented on the PPP's handling of COVID-19. Unfortunately, this country had to be handed over to this fraudulent administration in the heart of COVID, in the heights of COVID. Unfortunately. And what they did, and again, I can't take these words of this president serious. I really can't. I can't take his words seriously. Because these are the people, when they came in, they relaxed the measures. They relaxed COVID measures. And one wonders if the president is actually in conversation with the vice president in any way. Does he have conversation? He dialogue with Jagdeo? Does he talk with his Minister of Health? Again, it seems as though he's living in some sort of dream world where everything is hunky-dory. Folks, let me say this. It was the PPP that relaxed the measures. Even in this press conference, in the height of this surge in COVID-19 cases and this spike in COVID-19 deaths, we don't hear any plan to bring the curfew back to a place where it will be easier for the police force to monitor and enforce the guidelines. Because if the curfew is earlier, then people won't be inclined to have their parties or in the night and secret locations and all these things. So again, it is a situation where there is rhetoric and then there's action. And the actions of this PPP government don't align with their rhetoric. The actions of this PPP government does not align with the rhetoric, because it was the vice president, the fraudulent vice president Jack Deal, that said, listen, we can lock people in their houses. We have to open up the country. And a few people will die, he said. And it's sad that these few people, one or two people you see dying, these one or two people now turn to almost 290 people. Almost 290 people. And what are we doing? Now we come in to say that, you know what, we are going to stricter measures. I can't take this man seriously. I seriously can't take him seriously. In addition to that, in this press conference today, Mr. 19 charges himself, because I don't know whether or not um, being president makes it automatic. So the guy, these people should automatically forget that the man who is sitting in the highest office in this land, 19 fraud charges against his name. You know, we saw the DPP throwing it out, of course. What do you expect? The man that's sitting in the highest office in the land has yet to tell us where he got his degree from. Well, he said that he got it from some chambers, somewhere. Marred in controversy as to where his degree came from. And this organization that gave him this degree. All he was able to say in the press conference that my certificates are out there. You know, I'm going back because, you know, every time I talk about the situation, it's as if, you know what? We have forgotten. We have forgotten that this is the man that is sitting in the seat of power. But trust me, Guyanese have not forgotten. But in this press conference, he also spoke about Linden. He also spoke about Linden. And folks, we know what has been happening in Linden. Let me just pull this up because, you know, right? The Linden nurses have been protesting now for more than a month. The Linden nurses would have been protesting now for more than a month. Right? And they have not been treated fairly. Their cries have gone unheard, basically. They sent the minister, who is not even responsible for health, up to Linden to talk to them about what? Now, what are we seeing? There is a lack of protective gears at the Linden Hospital. Right? The president said that conditions at the Linden Hospital complex have improved over the 9 months. We listen to the nurses say that they don't even have basic drugs. The president could sit down at his press conference and say that, look, the situation in Linden has improved under us. The nurses have testified that there is shortage of drugs, shortage of protective gears, and of course they're dealing with a CEO that is disrespectful and has approached the women in unacceptable manner. And if they have called for his removal. But our president, our fraudulent president, well, not my president, the president that we're saddled with, The president, this fraudulent president that we started with, said that, hey, situations have improved in Linden. As if everything is fine. As if the president does not tune into the daily news and see these nurses protesting every day and calling for various things. In the face of the protest for the last 50 days for the removal of the CEO, and as they protest for that, they tell you about the various things that are not there at the hospital, basic things. But fraudulent Ali could sit down today at the press conference and say that everything is fine at Linden, apparently. It has improved. How? How is it improved? How has it improved, Mr. 19 charges? That is the question. That is the question. How has it improved? Folks, it is sad to see what is happening there in Linden. And you know, one will ask a simple question. Why? Ask yourself why. The sugar workers went on the road for a couple days. Jagdeo ran to their rescue and gave them over $200 million. Sugar industry that makes no money. These nurses have been on the road now for more than a month, 50 days. Coming up on 2 months, they've been protesting for the removal of one man. And for the basic things to come in the hospital, the basic medications. But you have to ask yourself why. Why is it that the nurses are treated like this? Why is it that the president, the fraudulent president, will go on TV and say, look, things improve. If things are improving, then why is it that the nurses are continuing to protest? Are they crazy? Is it mad people? Are you saying that the nurses that are on the road now for 50 days, they are crazy? I don't understand it. I really don't. But again, as I said, the nurses can stay on the road there. Y'all stay on the road and mechanize how long y'all want. The sugar workers jump up a couple of days and you give them 200 million. Again, these are the women, these are the men, these are the women, these are the people who are taking care of your citizens. These are the most important set of people in the country. These are the most important people. In the global pandemic, you are treating your nurses like this. Why? Because they live in a part of the country that don't support you generally? Huh? Is it because they live in Linden? Huh? Is it because they live in Linden? Is it because Linden is not your support base? Huh? You need to tell us that. You need to let us know. Come up the front. Don't beat around the bush. So listen, we ain't got time with your nurses in Linden because you know what? Y'all come from a community that don't support me. Folks, to help us unpack this situation unfolding in Linden and the delusion that the president seems to be living in, let me welcome the regional vice chairman of region number 10, Mr. Douglas Gittins, to the show to help me unpack what is happening. Mr.
Good
Gittins, good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Thanks for having me on your program.
Thank you very much for being here. I am, as you would have heard, we're going through and trying to unpack what the president said today at his press conference about things improving at the Linden Hospital. And I asked my audience, why is it that this man seems to not really care, or the PLP seems to not really care about what is happening there? I draw the com. I sorry, I will draw the comparison for everybody that these sugar workers jump up a couple mornings and they make some noise about money and Jaguar ran to their aid and they gave them 200. These nurses have been on the road now for more than 50 days,
Yes.
calling for one simple thing and then, of course, highlighting the issues at the hospital. Where are we heading, Mr. Gittins? And what can you tell us? Give us the real issue. The president said things improved. Have they improved?
Well, I can tell you, sir, I've been there Friday. I've been on the ground at the hospital Friday and nothing has changed. The nurses are still outside and the medication, the critical medication are not there. The PPE gear that they're supposed to have to protect themselves and the people that they're dealing with still isn't there. So I don't know what Mr. President is talking about. He seems to be getting poor quality information. As the regional chairman said earlier to me, he seems like he's in a bunker somewhere and he's not connected with the people on the ground. So that's the situation up here. I can highlight one example of somebody that went to the hospital recently. A guy had a big gash here. Somebody cut him with a cutlass straight across here. It required about 40 stitches. And this gentleman had to sit there at the hospital and take those stitches without anything to relieve pain. Now, how can you as a person
Oh,
take 40 something stitches and without painkiller, neither aspirin or any one of the critical things that is needed for a surgery to happen? Anytime you want anything at that hospital done for yourself, you have to buy it and take it there. So I don't know if that is
improvement.
the improvement he's talking about. But sir, I was there on Friday. I walked through the farm. No, well, I didn't get to go inside, but I went to some of the nurses and quietly I asked, "Have anything changed? Is anything better?" No. Toilet paper, sir. Bleach, sanitizer. These are some of the things that are critical to the daily functioning of these nurses, and they're not there. Tylenol, cough mixture. The girl said a critical thing like something to deal with asthma, not there. Hypertensive medication, the strips to the diabetic machines so that you could test for diabetes and how high your sugar is, not there. Those are simple things that the government of Ghana is supposed to give to the residents of Linden through the hospital, that you're supposed to turn up there and get a quality service at that hospital. And right now, that is not happening. What I can tell you though is that the nurses have not left the people of Linden just like that. Among themselves, they worked out a skeleton system where some of them will always be at the hospital. They're obeying all of the rules. I can tell you
Yeah.
this too, sir, that instead of meeting and discussing the situation with the nurses, they started to cut some of them pay. They were sent
Wow.
letters. They were sent letters. Persons' pay will be cut since 2017. They are targeting specific people and having old dates pulled up, and they will continuously get rid of some of them money. So that is the situation there.
I find it very strange, Vice Chair, that, and I take it that this government really don't care about these people in Linden. Because if they had, they would have sent the Minister of Health. I know they sent a minister up. Now responsible, without the poor minister doesn't have responsibility to health. These nurses are employed in the Ministry of Health. They don't see the Minister of Health. They don't seem to be getting any assistance with their cries. Uh, and it seems as though they're just left to the wind. and not only left to the wind, but they're left to the mercies of a CEO that they have been calling for his removal. So think about the situation that they have to work under. Their boss, they've been calling for the removal of their boss, and they would have highlighted many of his indiscretions. So they now have to deal with whatever attitude he's coming back with, you know. It is a real sad situation. And why is it, do you think, that they have not removed this man?
I think this is just my view, right? I think they see it as a form of weakness on their part, that if they just back down from a situation like this, the nurses will tend to remove and remove and remove CEOs from those hospitals. But I have told people across this community, I have a no confidence when it comes to certain things as it pertains to the workplace. You cannot treat your staff the way, and when in the initial stage I went to this gentleman and I said, sir, the people of Linden are looking, the nurses are already crying on your head, please stop doing some of the things that you are doing. And he said to me, quite frankly, he is going to fix it. He's going to deal with all of the situations that are there. And when that recording came out, I can tell you, I knew it was him. I knew he said some of the things that he said, because he said some of those things to me, that nurses behave in a certain way and he has to fix it. The nurses, I can tell you, sir, if he only walks through that gate, they will come out in their numbers again. They have absolutely no confidence in anything that he's doing. And I'm saying that it is because they feel that it will come out as a weakness. If we remove him, they have sent him back. Because in the initial stage, they too agreed that he should be removed. They too agreed that some of the things that he said were terrible things to say to your staff. They moved him. At least for 24 hours, he was removed.
Yeah. And you know, I find it, and again, I'm drawing the parallel to what happened with the sugar workers.
Yeah.
And we can ask as many questions as we want. The answer is staring us right in the face. If this was a government that cared about those people in Linden, they would have already remedied their situation. This is not rocket science. This is nothing hard for them to fix, right? They could readily take a police commander and they can transfer it to somewhere in the interior, right?
Yes.
For less egregious things, somebody just need to, be in a little issue to transfer them. They could have transferred. They don't need to fire him. If you say, you know what, you don't want to take bread out of the man mouth, but move him from the situation, remove him from the conflict, and let the business of the hospital go on properly. Because now you have a serious conflict happening between the nurses and this man, who it's going to always be a sore point. So I don't believe
let me tell you something though, Randolph. Don't give him out too much liberty. Do not transfer this guy to be CEO anywhere else. We have been to specific areas in this region. Kokwani said, oi, what y'all doing with this man? I hear he coming here. They said not here. We have heard from at least New Amsterdam and Georgetown. Don't send them here. We will have the same type of protest if he comes to these places. Because let me tell you something. This thing has a social issue that it has brought, that it has arise throughout this country. Men are now looking at their nurse wives that go to work in the night in a different way. It has affected these people in different ways.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, if you come home a half an hour late, your husband watching you, where you been? It's not as simple as we are seeing it, and that is what each and every one of those nurses are saying. They are being belittled in the community, taxi men troubling them. Hey, this way as they're going in the night. Okay. It is not as simple as we are taking it. And I can tell you this too, Randolph. The PPE gear, for example, at the hospital, the PPE gear that is now there, most of it is what the regional chairman and his council have gotten from people across the diaspora and brought it to the hospital. I can tell you SB Foundation is one of those critical places that have been hand in hand with us helping these nurses. The PPE gear, the mask, the suits, the gloves, different things they have sent, and they have remained very tied with us. And we just have to say the word and the things are there.
I'm happy that that is the case. Stick around, Regional Vice Chair. Give me a second. Let me just, for those persons who are now joining us, we are talking there with the Regional Vice Chair for Region Number 10, Mr. Douglas Gittins, about the situation in Linden. Of course, we saw this story in the local press where the president, the fraudulent president, be it, would have said that, look, situations in Linden at the Linden Hospital will have improved over the last 9 months. And we're asking, of course, is this man living in some sort of dream world? Is this man living in some sort of bunker protected underground, and he doesn't even box the newspapers when the day comes? So understand that the nurses are still protesting. They're still protesting. They've been protesting now for 50 days for some simple remedies. Simple remedies. But more importantly, folks, more importantly, there is a criminal shortage of supplies at the hospital. Criminal shortage of supplies at the hospital. Let me welcome back Regional Vice Chair. And I know I want to go back to this story because it's sort of unbelievable, Mr. Gittins, that a man could go into the hospital with a cut and had to endure over 40 stitches without any anesthetic and without any pain reliever. It is unthinkable that that is what is happening in Linden. And you hear the president saying that things have improved. So, walk us through again, because I want to understand, I want the viewers to understand the severity of the issue. Toilet paper?
Yes. Yeah. I can tell you, saline, Mr. Critchlow, saline is not at that hospital. You have to buy a kit. When you're doing a surgery, you have to buy a kit and take it to that hospital to get the service that you require. Our government, the AP and UFC, put down a dialysis center in that hospital, and it has not been used yet. We had the idea that people with dialysis in this region must not travel to Georgetown. They could have the dialysis thing right there at the hospital. Until now, you said 200 and something days since they took office. Until now, that thing is not open. A person has to pay $15,000 per session for dialysis in Georgetown. They have to travel to town privately because these people is being all kind of pain and these kind of things. So it is a lot of money to stay alive. We said to our people, we the AP and you said to our people that we will install this thing and we'll have it functioning for the people of Region 10. They have not furnished it with the requisite person or personnel to give that service to the people of Region 10. But all is not lost. I can say to you, Lieutenant Colonel Joe Harmon was in Linden. He brought all of or most of his women parliamentarians. That was an important day for us. He brought some of the males too, but the main issue that day was to show that we are step to step behind you. We are following, we are listening, we are giving the right information. And this is why I love this program. I can tell you, Mr. Critchlow, we are getting the right information to the people. This is an important program. Keep the thing moving. I like the name. The people of Guyana deserve the truth. And that's why I'm here today. That he brought his women parliamentarians and some of the men, and he said to them that we are not going to give up. We will be step to step behind you and with you.
I know that he was in Linden recently, leave the opposition. He spoke to the nurses. What was the reception from those persons there?
The nurses were quite happy that he came. They interacted with the women parliamentarians, which was a huge thing for them. They got to empty their chests, some of the things that are going on. For example, a new one has arisen with the nurses and this gentleman. They said that the daycare center that they spent their money. They approached community businesses. They didn't ask any government for anything. They brought in fridge and TV and these kind of things. He shut it down and he tell them they have to pay rent for that. So now the nurses have their children work. Maybe they're working on the night shift and they have nowhere for the children to go. They have to now pay rent for that. So what are the nurses doing? How can they give a quality service if they're under stress every single day of their lives? These people are not working it at peace. They're working under stressful situations every single day. Some people have told me that they went to the bank pushing the ATM card and get $3,000 for the whole month because these people chop up their salary.
Wow.
It is unfair to some of these people the way this government is treating them, and you making the parallel with them on the sugar industry. Give the nurses the same type of respect that you have given the sugar people, and get this situation stopped. No, it could stop today. All they have to do is move this guy, send in the requisite people, deal with some of the salary increases that they want because they deserve it. I think that nurses across the country should be the highest paid people in the country. They are doing an amazing job in a critical situation. This COVID situation is not dying down. We are getting a consistent 2 or 3 or 4 in Region 10 almost every day now. So it is something that the nurses should not have to focus on with this gentleman. They should not have to focus on salary problems. And let me tell you this one, this is an important one. We are the only region where the nurses did not receive that frontline package, where they would get maybe 10,000 extra on their salary. We were the only region that didn't get that. The nurses have said that to me. And you can quote me on that.
Let me just jump back in here. You're telling me that in the midst of all of what has gone on with the nurses in Linden, the turmoil Mr. Small would have put them through, the fact that the hospital is in such a dire need for basic medications and basic supplies that they have not, and the fact that their salaries are being cut because they are part of this protest action, and the fact all of these things compounded, they were not given that increase that was negotiated for when the nurses were protesting.
No, sir.
It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable.
No, sir.
Again, and I say this to my viewers, that juxtapose that to the fact that the sugar workers are working in an industry that doesn't make any money, but the vice president run and give them 200 million after the CEO said, look, we don't have any money. Sister Ryan Singh said, look, we don't have any money. We can't pay y'all anything. They found 200 million. What is happening with the why the nurses being treated like this? That's the only question I have.
I don't know. You have a situation, sir, and this is not my place because I'm AP and the green is running through my veins. It's not my place to say this, but these people could look so good. The government could look so good. Come in and deal with this foolishness and get rid of it. Give us the gear that we need. Give us the things that we need. Give us the required raise in salary and the bonuses and everything that those nurses require. And let this story die. In 5 minutes, with the stroke of a penny deal, $200 million to sugar industry. Give us the same respect. And that's why myself, regional chairman and council, have stood there almost every single day with those. We go there and we sit with them. We listen to their plight. So I'm not giving you second-hand information. I'm giving you from the horse's mouth. This is what is happening. And if you think that Linden is bad, go to Kokwani. Go to places in the Berbice, Demerara rivers. I went to a place called Great Falls, I think it was, on the Essequibo River. Sir, is a table and a chair. Nothing else. This is the situation where Region 10 people have to deal with. This is what we deal with in this community.
Wow. I'm just hoping that the persons that are listening, I'm hoping that the minister responsible for health is also listening, you know, and that people get a clear picture of how wicked and devious this PVP regime is. And I said it at the beginning, I said before the interview that I have my own opinion that it is because Linden is not historically a town that supports the PPP that you're seeing them being dealt this very dirty hand and being allowed to suffer in this manner. Those nurses deserve way better. Mr. Douglas, I want to thank you. Mr. Gittins, I mean, we want to give you an opportunity to leave some parting words, not only to your people in Linden, but Guyana. Let us your final words before we wrap this up. I am so flustered and disappointed at what I'm hearing right now. You know, forgive me, but I'm give you the last word.
I was really hoping that the judgment the other day would be held in our favor. However, I have not lost hope. We still have a fight that is there to be won. Um, I'm hoping that soon as possible we will be back. The AP and UFC will be back. I am seeing things now as vice chairman across this region that will be so easy for us to do if we were in government, and to have our government treat us in some of the respects that they treat us is totally unacceptable. These are things that are required. These are things that are needed. It's not anything extra that we are asking for. We are asking for the things that you should give us. These are the things that we need. Give us those things and let us be happy. We looked after this entire country, the AP, and you look. We didn't get to do all that we desired. We went to every nook and cranny and ensure we gave them a little something. Come the man. This is Linden. I've been living here my entire life. Just and this is my fear, Mr. Critchlow, that I end up there one of these days, and that is why I fight so hard for that place. That is why I'm there almost every day, because I'm scared that me or my family end up there and we can't get the service that we require. This is why my fight is like this. And I'm saying to you, I'm pleading with you, government, deal us our hand that we deserve. Let us be
Yeah,
happy. Come on.
yeah. I don't think that that's in the interest of the PPP. They're not interested about in governing fairly. I don't think that they are. They have shown us that they're unwilling to put aside politics and deal with people like human beings. So I'm happy that you're making that call, and I'm happy that you were here this evening to share with us about the plight of those workers, those healthcare workers in Linden, and hope you we see you again on the show sometime soon. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, sir, for inviting me. Once I'm invited, I'll come. No problem.
All right. Thank you very much. Folks, here chatting there with the regional vice chair for region number 10, Mr. Douglas Gittins, giving you a clearer view because, we always say on this show, the important thing is that you get the credible and valid information. And if you listen to the president today, if you listen to Mr. 19 Charges today, you would have believed that everything was everything in Linden, and the Linden Hospital is a wonderful place to be. How it has improved. It has improved over the last 9 months. Mr. Gittins came on and he said a man went in with a chap wound and had to endure 40 stitches without any pain reliever. Anything to relieve his pain. That is the situation. Basic things are not in the hospital. Again, is the president living in a dream world? Is the president in some sort of dreamland? It seems as though they are so disconnected. We have, and I'll say this, maybe they are disconnected. Let's put it down to the fact that they don't talk to each other. Because we have not had a post-cabinet press briefing in how many months? So we can assume that the cabinet isn't meeting. Just like we haven't had parliament for more than 2 months, let's assume that the president doesn't even meet his cabinet. And I have to assume that based on what I'm seeing. What am I seeing? I see the Minister of Foreign Affairs out in a big boat sailing without a paddle. The boat don't even have a rudder, so he can't figure out which turn. He's just going with the wind. The Minister of Health is sitting in Brickdam, sit down in Brickdam, talking about this and that, and people partying all over about enforcement. The man that is supposed to be heading the enforcement, the Minister of Home Affairs, Public Security, he is nowhere to be heard or seen while crime is running rampant. Huh? The Vice President saying one thing, the President saying something else. Everybody doing their own thing. Nobody, they can't manage the way out of a paper bag right now. This administration seems to be so all over the place. Confusion powder. Nandalal running behind people for land. He run behind people for land and forget that he had to defend Jagdeo in the case and didn't send in any defense. He make Jagdeo got paid $20 million because he running behind people for land. He said he running behind election of COVID. He doing everything except what he's supposed to be doing. He said Jagdeo said Nandalal mislead him. That's what we got. We get the tin pot dictator, Darmlal, who they like this, trying to put his hand in all the various cookie jars around the country, these RDCs and NDCs, and he is the puppet master, the tin pot dictator. So it is just one confusion. The Minister of Public Service said that they gotta fire people to ensure that the sector run properly. Well, we're going to dig deep into that. We're going to be unpacking that same statement by the Minister of Public Service, Parag. He said we gotta fire people. They have to fire people, send people home so that the service could work properly, the industries. That's why you send home the EPA man so that they could work properly. It is just a heap of confusion. That is what it is. A whole heap of confusion. The PDP's performance over the last 269 days has been nothing short of shambolic. Nothing short of shambolic. It's a shambles. Folks, it's sad. And as I say this, let me remind you, of course, we broke with the news that Sharon's Mall is, there's a fire there at Sharon's Mall. I'm trying to see if we can get some of the footage for you. Right, but apparently the firefighters are still working there to get that sorted out. See if I can bring that in for you. But of course, we're hearing that there's a fire there at Sharon's Mall. Hoping that we can get some of the footage there. Give me a better idea of what is happening down there. This broke, of course, as soon as we came on air, and apparently it seems as though they're getting it under control. But just to give you an idea of what is happening right now outside in Georgetown, that story there, Sharon's Mall, and we are going to continue to monitor that. Of course, we bring more information on that later down in the show. But we are winding down the show, but I want to as we spoke about that, the issue with the nurses. Do you know the Public Service Union has accused the government of ignoring their plight? As we talk about what the nurses ain't getting, GPL people protesting, the nurses protesting, public servants have not gotten an increase in 2 years. 2 years, no increase in public servants. 2 budgets, no increase in public servants. This is what is happening in our country. But the sugar workers get 200 million, throw in the lap. After the government take 9 billion and throw it down the black hole of sugar. Absolute madness. Absolute madness. Folks, we're happy that you're contributing in the comment section. Remember, we're live on YouTube also. We're live on Facebook every single day from 5:30. We came on a little late, so we're running a little late today. We're going to go up to 7 o'clock. Of course, we ask you to join Sherrod Duncan on all of our pages. We normally stream on all of our pages and on YouTube. Join Sherrod Duncan at 8 o'clock for In the Ring. Right now, we have time, folks, for one more thing. One more thing.
Give me some folk song, let me sing something now.
Right. One more thing this afternoon. We had a serious show. But we're going to end our show this afternoon with our one more thing. Just a bit of satire and hilarious content. I want to ask a simple question. Somebody said this to me, and I want to put it to you. And I want to say, oh my guy. Why y'all let the man come and do a press conference in a pajama? Pajama press conference. That is what I'm ending with today. I just find it funny. And I will end on this lighter note today. Yeah, tell me. Please. Tell me why the man come in pajama to do the press conference. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. What else? What else, Father? Please inform Mr. 19 Charges that when he's coming to do press conferences, please let him remember that he has to dress, come out of his pajamas, and put on proper clothes. Please. Folks, that is our one more thing for today. I hope you had some fun. I hope that you enjoyed the content that we shared with you today. I'm going to leave you with Pajama Press Conference, man. Oh, boy. I will leave you with Pajama Press Conference, man. And give you, of course, my usual send-off. Saying to you, let's continue to work together. Wait, man. Marley Caesar said to keep it up. Let me keep it up. Let me put it back up. Please. There's Bill Maher, I think, does a show called, and he does a segment of the show called New Rule. Somebody please let the president know that he can't do a press conference in a pajama. Oh my God. Lord help us. Folks, from me and my technical team, I want to say thank you very much for joining us. Do continue to enjoy the rest of the evening. COVID is still with us. Continue to do the things you need to do to protect your friends and family. And let us continue to work together for national development. My name is Randolph Critchlow. For those persons who join us from all the way around the world, internationally, in the region, and right here in Guyana, do enjoy the rest of the evening.